All the hits. One station.
You are listening to TKK 89.5 North Star FM Radio. Tatak K. Radyo Kaalamang Pang-modular. Magaan na sa buhay, madali pa sa pag-aaral. Good morning, my dear grade 6 listeners. Teacher Laura is here once again to discuss to you our lesson in English 6. Before we start, I would like to share with you a quote to reflect on for this week. If you study to remember, you will forget. But if you study to understand, you will remember. A simple quote yet has a beautiful and deep meaning. I hope that you'll remember and apply this as you work on with your tasks. Are you excited for this week's lesson? I bet you are. So, you know what to do. Get ready with your paper and pen. The most essential learning competency for this week is to evaluate narratives based on how the author developed the element plot, which includes chronological, sequential, in medias res, and flashback. Do you enjoy watching movies these days? Admit it or not, aside from the characters, what we really enjoy the most when we watch movies is the story itself. How the writer creatively writes the sequence of the movie, how it evolves, and how it is being presented. In a narrative or creative writing, the sequence of events that make up a story, whether it's told, written, filmed, or sung, is called plot. The plot is the story, and more specifically, how the story develops, unfolds, and moves in time. The plot may be presented through literary devices such as the following. We have chronological sequential, flashback, and in medias res. Let us discuss each one. So in chronological sequential arrangement of events, this is the normal way of writing a narrative. There are 5 parts. We have exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution. In exposition, it is the beginning of the story and prepares the way for upcoming events to unfold. While in rising action, it is that point where the main problem or conflict is revealed. And the third one, the climax, it is the peak of tension, plot, and character in your story. It's the moment that your reader has been waiting for, so make it exciting. Fourth one is the falling action. Now that you've reached the peak of your story, it's time to start moving toward a more satisfying conclusion. This is the time to start resolving conflicts and subplots so your story doesn't feel rushed in the last few chapters. This is also where any conflicts that arose as a result of the climax can start being resolved. And the fifth one is resolution. It is the end of your story where you can tie up the final loose ends and bring your story to its happy or tragic ending. literary device being used by writers is what we call flashback. So a flashback is a transition in a story to an earlier time that interrupts the normal chronological order of events. A flashback in a movie might show what happened when a character was younger. Flashbacks are often used for comedic effect, to prove or contradict something in the present. For example, if a character in a sitcom claims he does the dishes every single night, flashbacks could show him ignoring a giant pile of dirty dishes on various occasions. Flashback can also mean a sudden, vivid remembrance of past events, like having a flashback to your kindergarten days if you go visit that classroom today. The third one is in medias res. It is spelled as INMEDIAS in medias res. This is a Latin phrase which means into the middle of things. Unlike the direct narration of story events, another related story is narrated inside the main plotline. It is narrating from the midpoint rather than the beginning, usually opening with a dramatic action rather than the exposition. Before we proceed with your task, let us have some exercise first. I will read to you a story, then later, you will arrange the sequence of the sentences based on the story. Kindly listen. Life before humans roamed the earth. Many years ago, the world was filled with animals. The animals could sense deep, hard, and cold winter season getting ready to set in. Their suspicions had come true. The sun went dormant for 6 months. When the sun got bright enough to see anything, you could see a thick, hazy fog that blanketed the sky. To top it off, it snowed continuously. The weather made it possible for the animals to find food to eat. With each week, they grew hungrier. The lack of heat drove the animals crazy as they were constantly shivering. Everyone was scared from day one to the next. All the animals got together and called for a council of the greats meeting. All animals were invited to attend, but only the greatest elder of each group could speak. The lynx was the first to speak up. He said that they had plenty of food, but no place to keep warm. The mouse spoke up and said that they had plenty of warm space and food, but they had no water to drink. The wolverine then spoke up and said that they have plenty of water, but no food or warm, dry space. Jenga, the head of council, saw a common theme here. We will all be fine as long as we work together. Lynx, share your food with Wolverine. Wolverines in return bring both Mouse and Lynx plenty of water. Lynx, bring your food to Mouse's place where you will stay until this is over. You will all live and work together. We can make it through this. As time went on, all the animals lived and worked together. The sun eventually came back and life returned to normal. By leaning on each other for support, the animals were able to live long and healthy lives. The following sentences are taken from the story you have just heard. So this is what you are going to do. First, write letters A, B, C, D, and E on your paper. Then, arrange the sequence of the events that happened in the story by placing a number next to each letter. 1 would be the first thing that happened and 5 would be the last thing that happened. So here are the sentences. For letter A, the sun returned after being dormant for 6 months. Letter B, the animals sensed a long cold winter ahead of them. Letter C, the weather made it difficult to find food. Letter D, the sun went dormant. And letter E, the animals cooperatively lived with one another and shared resources. From letters A to E, which should come first? Second, third, and so on. Which do you think? Let's check. 1 is letter B. 2 is letter D. 3 is letter C. 4 is letter E. And 5 is letter A. Did you get all 5 correctly? Very good. You may now proceed answering your learning tasks. Thank you, grade 6 learners, for tuning in. I want to hear from you, so send me a message to 0948-447-4565. Happy learning!